Hi everyone, welcome to the Whiteleyverse with me, Connor Whiteley, for another daily short story. Now, before I start today's story, please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you want to buy this short story and any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers and at your local bookstore and local library if you requested, and you can order paperback copies from Amazon. Now, here's today's short story. I hope you enjoyed just as much as I did writing it.
Flying and dancing over hell. Tim Harper gripped his plane seat tight, his chest tensed and his chest tightened as he recognized exactly where they were flying over. He bit his lower lip. He hadn't cared about the annoying young family behind him that was constantly screaming, kicking his seat and laughing uncontrollably. Why the hell families brought their children on Boeing 747 jumbo jets if they couldn't sit still was beyond him. He couldn't bear to look out of the tiny airplane window at all the dirty white terrace houses below. The airplane seat in front of him kept jerking as the overweight woman tried to make herself comfortable despite the lack of adequate legroom, so Tim tried to look next to him. The businessman next to him was snoring. His mouth and black teeth were wide open and his breath stunk of death, rot, and mint. Tim really wanted to get off the flight. He just wanted to go home to his beautiful wife, report about the brilliant special educational needs conference, and have great sex like they always did. Anything was better than business breath next to him. He just doubted he was going to make it off the plane alive. Sweat rolled down his back, his chest went even tighter, and a chill ran up his spine. He didn't even care that the cute young female flight attendant had spilled hot coffee over him. She had apologized, it had been an honest mistake, and he had helped her tidy up. Tim had given the elderly man harassing her, touching her ass and making sexist comments a stern talking to. Sexism was not okay in the slightest. Yet he couldn't stand flying over hell's place. The strange former council estate where people got murdered, kidnapped, and other twisted and weird things happened every day. He had fought so hard, made so many sacrifices, and killed so many people when he turned 18 just to escape. Now the plane was flying over it, and he couldn't help feeling like the estate wanted him back. Business breath had stopped breathing, and as much as Tim wanted to wake him up, he was rather enjoying the lack of awful breath for a few moments. The overweight woman in front of him had stopped moving, and the annoying young family behind him had stopped kicking. He bit his lower lip. He really didn't want to do anything, because they would be back at Gatwick in 30 minutes. He could have 30 minutes of peace, 30 minutes of joy, and 30 minutes of relaxation without anyone distracting him. Tim couldn't do that. He liked helping people too much to let them die for no reason. Tim tapped business breath on the shoulder. No response. He stood up, looked at the sleeping young family, and realized everyone in the cabin was fast asleep. And they weren't waking up. Tim looked at their chests. They were rising and falling, and everyone was thankfully alive. All 8 flight attendants came towards him. 4 beautiful women in their black dresses, long hair, and high cheekbones were smiling at him. The 4 men in their suits took the women's hands, and they started dancing. He had no idea what dance they were doing, but they were swirling, twirling, and whirling around each other. They didn't care that they were bumping into passengers, knocking them on the head, and they were spilling the hot drinks over them. They were just dancing. Tim got up, stepped over business breath, and almost slipped as the plane jerked a little. He stepped onto the soft carpet in the narrow middle aisle. The flight attendants danced towards him, and they all grinned. Tim's stomach churned, a chill ran up his spine, and his chest tightened. The plane jerked a little more. He couldn't believe this was happening. Hell's place was already infecting the plane, making weird things happen, and everyone was at risk because of him. He had only wanted to escape because he wanted a fresh new start, a better life, and he didn't want to die. He wanted to save lives, give children with special educational needs a great life, and he wanted to fall in love. The plane started dipping, descending, and still the flight attendants kept dancing. Tim's stomach churned. The flight attendants danced towards him, One gripped his wrists and he shook his hand free. "Stop this. Why are you doing this? Why are you risking their lives?" Tim asked, hoping he could speak to whatever monster was pulling the strings. The flight attendants started river dancing. Their feet, their legs, and their kicks were supernaturally fast. It hurt his head to see then the pilots in their white shirts, caps, and black trousers stepped out of the cockpit. They were river dancing. All the other passengers woke up, danced, and started smashing, knocking, and hitting each other. "I demand you to reveal yourself, Hell's Place," Tim said. "I know you want me back. I want you to die. I know you have a price. How do I save these people?" Tim's stomach churned and lifted and tensed a little as the plane started dropping even more. Everyone stopped dancing. Strange hints of sweat, poorly recycled oxygen, and stale air filled his senses. A chill ran down his spine. Tim looked at the two pilots as their hands became claws, their teeth became dagger-like fangs, and their suits melted away. The two pilots combined. Their 4 arms, 2 chests, and 2 heads just stared at Tim as everyone else collapsed into a sleep without dreams. "We don't want you back," the left head said. "No one wants you back. No one likes you. You're a deadbeat." Tim bit his lower lip as the words of his bullies echoed round his mind. No one liked him at school. He was too needy, too fat, and too uncool back then. He was glad he had moved past all that, gotten his degrees, and made something of himself. "Yes, we do. We want him. We need him. We need his soul," the right head said. Tim looked out the small plane windows. His stomach was still lifting, and the dirty white terrace houses were getting closer. Faster. "Let me guess," Tim said. "One head tells the truth. Another head tells me a lie. How many questions do I get?" 3. 6. Tim rolled his eyes. It was impossible. Both looked exactly the same. He couldn't tell who was lying. Neither head was smiling, turning red, and their eyes were stone cold. He had to believe he only had 3 questions, even though he only wanted the answer to one. "How do I save these people?" Tim asked. "Do nothing. Kill yourself." Tim paced round, stepped over business breath, and looked out the windows again. The ground was still getting closer, but the plane was slowing down. He looked at the cold, impossible faces. He couldn't kill himself. He had too much left to do, too many lives to inspire, and too much left to learn. He wasn't dying. "How do I get these people to wake up?" "Kill yourself. Do nothing." Tim hated how the different heads were saying different things each time. It was almost like the heads were changing after he asked each question. One moment the left head was the truth-teller, then the next moment it was the liar. He had to fight, he had to act, and he just had to do something to save these people. In his entire life, he had never backed down from a fight. He had killed, buried bodies, and committed crimes to beat Hell's Place as a child. He could beat Hell's Place again. The plane jerked, his stomach lifted, and as much as he wanted to fight the pilots, he just knew he couldn't, because that would kill everyone on board. He bit his lower lip. His chest tightened, and he took a deep breath of the sweat-scented air. He had to actually do nothing, for the first time in his life. He climbed over business breath, sat on his chair, and the entire plane started dancing again. Tim shook his head. The passengers were waltzing, the flight attendants were doing some kind of weird hip-hop dance, and the pilots were swirling around each other. Still, Tim just ignored it all. He looked round the plane window, saw the dirty white terrace houses were getting closer and closer, and he did nothing at all. He frowned. He hated doing nothing, he hated not making a difference, and he hated not being proactive. Even if there was the smallest chance that doing nothing would save everyone, then he had to do it. He didn't read the plane brochures, the so-called great holiday packages that the airline could offer him, and all the great toys from the gift shop that some of the Sen kids would flat out love. He didn't read any of them. He just stared at the little plane window. The strong aromas of sweat, manly musk, and spilled coffee assaulted his nose, but he forced himself not to be bothered by it. He had to do nothing, so he could save everyone. The dirty white terrace houses were getting closer. He could see young adults playing in the tiny gardens, and he could see the whites of their eyes. Tim still didn't react. He enjoyed the hints of sweat, manly musk, and coffee that lingered in the poorly recycled air. He smiled to himself. He wasn't going to act, he wasn't going to fight, and he was simply going to let it happen. The plane jerked upwards. The sheer force knocked him back in his seat. The plane seat creaked as he sank into it, and his stomach sank inside him as the plane shot upwards. He tried to raise his arm, tap his feet, or do any movement, but he couldn't. The sheer force of the plane was simply too much. After a minute of climbing, the plane leveled off. Everyone stopped dancing, and everyone shrugged and went back to their duties. The pilots went back into the cockpit, sealed the door, and the plane jerked a little as they took over control again. Tim smiled that they were no longer flying over Hell's Place. The flight attendants looked really confused at one another. They grabbed the dining cart and decided to give everyone a free drink on the house, and all the passengers immediately wanted the most expensive thing on the drinks menu. And Business Breath was still snoring like an out-of-tune motorcycle that would and could explode at any moment. Tim just smiled to himself as the cute young female flight attendant passed him a lukewarm coffee. He was safe, alive, and everyone else was safe too. Hell's Place might have tried to kill him and everyone else, but he knew how the estate worked. He knew its tricks, its lies, and its manipulations. And thankfully, he had outwitted it by simply denying Hell's Place what it craved beyond all else: attention. Hell's Place wanted to be feared, hated, and deadly. If you simply took away that fear, then Hell's Place was actually really weak, pathetic, and useless. As the plane zoomed off into the distance towards London, Tim was so looking forward to getting off, seeing his beautiful wife and them having passionate sex like they always did. The perfect end to a wonderfully weird day.
Welcome back everyone, it's me again, Connor Whiteley. So I really hope that you enjoyed today's story, because I flat out love writing, creating stories and sharing them with you. If you really enjoyed today's story, then please remember to like, comment and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content, and the engagement really helps the Whiteleyverse with the YouTube algorithms. And if you want to buy this short story or any of my other fiction, then they're available from all major ebook retailers, and you can get them from your local library if you requested, and you can order the paperback copies from Amazon, your local bookstore or local library if you request it. Lastly, if you want to support the channel on a one-off basis, then you can now buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Connor Whiteley. Also, if you know anyone who would enjoy today's story, then please share it with them. I'm always really grateful when you wonderful people help spread the word about the channel. So, thanks for watching the Whiteleyverse, and I'll see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone.